Many people may use the term psychopath as an insult, thinking that anyone who does something out of the ordinary could be a psychopath. However, this isn't necessarily true. The term psychopath is much more broad and can cover a wide range of mental disorders. Psychopathy is closely linked to the lack of empathy and remorse. Psychopaths may form deep emotional attachments to certain people or ideas, which may influence their behavior in a negative way. This personality disorder does not automatically make them violent or irrational, and many with psychopathy can actually lead normal lives with regular jobs, going to the grocery store, and playing sports. However, when it comes to risk factors for violence, the primary one has been linked to their environment while growing up. Many serial killers have psychopathic tendencies, but it often takes early childhood trauma to set them off. Additionally, those diagnosed with psychopathy possess an especially difficult to detect talent. They are excellent liars. This can help them fool even their closest friends and family into believing they are completely harmless. They have no sense of guilt or empathy, which contributes to this deception. You might think someone is kind and harmless right until the moment you realize they've betrayed you in some way or cheated you out of a job opportunity, leaving you wondering how you could have been so blind as to not see it coming. Paying attention to warning signs can be helpful in avoiding being deceived by someone with psychopathy. In today's video, we're going to learn about 10 signs you're dealing with a psychopath. Now, let's begin. Lack of control. The behavior exhibited by psychopaths can be said to be chaotic and unpredictable. They often struggle with regulating their emotions, which can lead to them lashing out in fits of anger or violence when provoked. This is an example of how impulsivity can override the rationality that is typically associated with psychopaths, as they are unable to think through the consequences of their actions before they act. Because of this lack of control, it is often difficult for others to predict the behavior of a psychopath, leading to an atmosphere of unease and uncertainty around them. As such, it can be incredibly dangerous to be around someone with psychopathic tendencies if the person in question has little control over their own behavior. It is important to remember that psychopaths are still people, and, like any other person, they can be helped. With the proper treatment and support, psychopaths can learn to better control their behavior and lead productive lives. Grandiose sense of self-importance. One of the most recognizable and distinct signs of a psychopath is their exaggerated and grandiose sense of self-importance. They are completely convinced that they are the best at whatever it is they do, that no one else can compete with them, and that they will never be replaced. This stems from the fact that psychopaths view the world in a very selfish way. They believe that everyone is always looking out for themselves, and if anyone denies this notion, then they must be lying. In doing so, they do not consider any other opinions or rules outside of their own. This is why many psychopaths find themselves engaging in criminal activities. When they want something, no one can stop them. Lack of accountability. By believing that rules are only for people who aren't shrewd enough to break them without getting caught, psychopaths have developed a lack of accountability for their actions. If their actions were supposedly asked for, then it isn't their fault. It's yours for trusting them, and if you thought you could trust them, then instead of admitting to their wrongdoings, they'll blame you without hesitation. Egotism in combination with an absence of responsibility poses a great risk and can easily go unnoticed. This makes it all the more important to understand these traits and look out for them. Cunning manipulation tactics. Psychopaths have a special type of intelligence that enables them to manipulate other people effortlessly. They have an uncanny ability to get what they want through charm, intimidation, and deceit. These tactics are often so subtle that victims may not even be aware of the manipulation until it is too late. Psychopaths can use their cunning strategies in a variety of ways, such as convincing someone to do something against their will or extracting critical information from another person without their knowledge. This makes it essential for people to be on the lookout for any signs of manipulative behavior and take steps to protect themselves from becoming victims. Aside from being adept manipulators, psychopaths also demonstrate extraordinary levels of alertness and focus when interacting with others. They are able to pick up on small details and clues about a person's intentions or emotional state in order to further exploit them. This allows psychopaths to gain advantages in social situations and offers them a way out of difficult conversations if needed. Additionally, psychopaths have extremely high levels of resilience when facing problems or obstacles, simply adapting their approach until they achieve the desired outcome. The combination of these traits makes psychopathy an incredibly dangerous mental disorder and one that should not be taken lightly by anyone who comes into contact with it. It is important for people to remain vigilant for any potentially manipulative behavior and take care not to allow themselves to become vulnerable or fall victim to any psychological games played by psychopaths. By taking appropriate precautions, individuals can ensure they are not taken advantage of by those with this sinister form of intelligence. Disgust threshold. Have you ever pondered why some notorious psychopaths can stomach their wrongdoings? For the majority of people, the mere sight of these images and scenes can be utterly repulsive, prompting feelings of nausea and unease. The smell of blood alone can be enough to make a person feel overwhelmed with revulsion. However, psychopaths are different. On an average, their disgust threshold is rather high. Put simply, sight and smells that can be deeply unsettling for anyone else have little effect on them. It is believed that this insensitivity to suffering stems from a fundamental lack of emotional investment in other people. Consequently, psychopaths are not as disturbed by the sights and sounds of harm inflicted. Lack of understanding for subtleties and nuances in language. Psychopathy is a condition which manifests itself in extreme difficulty in connecting with other people's emotions, as well as a lack of genuine emotion. This behavior can be attributed to an inability to understand or relate to abstract and metaphorical language. To illustrate this point, research conducted in the 1990s observed two groups of people, one with psychopathy and one without. When presented with a list of words meant to evoke an emotional response, the non-psychopathic group demonstrated heightened brain activity compared to when they were presented with neutral words. However, those diagnosed with psychopathy showed no difference between the two sets. This suggests that psychopaths simply cannot comprehend the underlying sentiment behind these words because their brains simply do not process them in the same way. Further studies have gone on to confirm this hypothesis, exploring the neurological basis for psychopathy. Results indicate that individuals diagnosed with psychopathy are more adept at manipulating logical ideas than understanding abstract ones or recognizing subtle nuances in language. This helps explain why psychopaths struggle to display authentic feelings, as they often miss out on metaphors and other complex meanings when communicating with others. They are instead driven by self-interest and have difficulty relating these emotions back to people around them, instead using phrases like, "There are plenty of fish in the sea," in order to manipulate you into giving them what they want, even though they may lack any true empathy or sympathy towards your situation. It is clear then that while many psychopaths may be intelligent individuals, their lack of understanding for subtleties and nuances in language can lead them towards behaviors which is chaotic and unpredictable, as they will not have advanced awareness of how their actions might affect another person emotionally, making it harder to connect and build meaningful relationships with others who think differently or look beyond face value interpretations of situations or conversations. Parasitic lifestyle. Psychopaths often live a parasitic lifestyle, relying on those around them for their needs without contributing anything in return. It's not just physical resources either. They'll take advantage of their victims emotionally, psychologically, and socially too. They'll siphon away your time and energy with no regard for how it affects you, since they view their own worth as far greater than that of anyone else. Moreover, they won't leave willingly. You'll need to take the initiative and cut them out of your life if you want to be rid of them. Otherwise, they'll continue to leech off of you until there's nothing left. Difficulty forming relationships. Psychopaths often struggle to form meaningful relationships with others due to the lack of empathy and inability to comprehend or relate to the emotions of those around them. This difficulty is exacerbated by their tendency to manipulate and exploit individuals for personal gain, making it difficult for people to trust or even connect with them in any capacity. On top of this, psychopaths tend to have a sense of grandiosity and lack of remorse that make them arrogant and dismissive of the feelings of others, further distancing themselves from connecting with other people. All these traits together make it immensely difficult for psychopaths to develop meaningful relationships with those around them. Facial attention. Research has revealed that individuals with psychopathic tendencies display unique facial attention behaviors when expressing their emotions. Rather than making direct eye contact with the person they are speaking to, these individuals are more inclined to focus on different areas of the other person's face, such as their mouth. This behavior is theorized to be derived from the fact that the mouth gives off more information than the eyes. Although it lacks the same personal intimacy of direct eye contact, focusing on the other person's mouth may provide these individuals with a better understanding of what is being expressed to them. Additionally, psychopathic individuals often display reduced sensitivity to the emotions of others, which can be another reason why they focus on different areas of the face rather than making direct eye contact. Missing distress. Research on facial expression attention has uncovered a key deficiency in most psychopaths. They are able to identify and distinguish between emotions such as happiness or anger, but often fail to detect stress. A 2018 study demonstrated that they have an inability to accurately recognize signs of emotional distress, making it difficult for them to provide any form of help. This is further compounded by the fact that even if they can detect distress, psychopaths typically are not compelled to provide assistance. All in all, this demonstrated just how little empathy many psychopaths possess and how easily they overlook signs of emotional need. What do you think about that? Share your thoughts and experience in the comments below. If you found this video helpful and informative, why not show your appreciation? Give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to share it with your friends. They'll be sure to benefit from the advice and information provided. You can also hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with our latest videos. Thanks for watching.